It's the full moon tonight. I love the full moon. I love the moon in any phase, really. The moon is also often my favorite tarot card. So let's look at every moon card in every deck that I own. First of all, let's look a little bit at what type of moon we are dealing with. It's July, so it's called the buck moon, or the thunder moon, which makes sense because this is where the volume came from. It's storming outside. I do work with the moon, but I've only recently added these titles into my journal. It's mostly just the phase of the moon, not necessarily which moon it is in what phase of the year, but I mean, I kind of like knowing that it's called the buck moon or the thunder moon for July. It kind of makes the intention a little clearer, just like in June it was strawberry moon. So I just thought it was some nice info. Let's start with the first moon card that I actually fell in love with, which is why I still, to this day, consider the moon card my favorite card of the entire tarot deck. I think this is absolute perfection. I don't know if there will be a better moon card than this one. Let's see what a random book on the Rider-Waite Smith has to say on the moon card. Shall we? It's about overcoming fear, being aware of getting lost in the dark, getting lost in illusions. This is one of those books that is so traditional that I don't really agree with it, because the purpose of the moon card, that's what they say, and I feel that, is the deepest insight and knowing of the self. Yeah, and I think that's valid, and I see that. Of course, there is that thing about fear of the moon, but the tone of the way that this card is being described is a little bit darker, negative. But, yeah, that was the Rider-Waite Smith, I guess. Let's look at another Rider-Waite Smith card. The first card was from the Centennial Rider-Waite Smith, I'm sure you know that. This is from the Golden Rider, which is, I'm sorry, an out-of-print deck. I have the French version, as you can see. To be honest, I love this deck, but I'm not a fan of the colors that were chosen for this particular card. I prefer it if there's a Rider-Waite Smith clone, as closely a clone as this one, and they choose to change the colors, then I prefer they go for darker colors. You know what? I just want to say something more about each card, because I don't know if the book thing works. I was reading from books, and I mean, we'll see. Not every book is as good or as interesting. This card from the Rider-Waite Smith is just the land of dreams. I feel that it's the land, this place that exists somewhere. It's going to sound a little bit crazy, but I mean, I'm the crazy tarot lady, so it doesn't really matter anyway. This is the place that we go to that exists somewhere that is in between the end of our life now and the beginning of our next life. And this is kind of, I feel, I had this vision or dream or whatever, I talked about it previously. This is the moment where the question is being asked, first of all, are you worthy of receiving that question? Or are you worthy of getting that choice between moving on or returning back to Earth? I love the symmetry. I love the simplicity, but also the fact that it really takes me to this place somewhere in the universe. This card does that a little less, just because of the colors. Apart from that, the Golden Rider is beautiful. The Thoth deck is also very beautiful. Now that I, at least for now, I don't know if that's going to be forever, read with the Thoth for clients. I actually love doing that. It's great. It does really, I feel that the pips and also just the different depictions, the different takes on the majors really does open up my mind and my idea of what a card means. But anyway, I started telling that just because of the fact that while I love this deck, there are some cards that I love so much in the Rider-Waite Smith that I just miss. The Moon card in the Rider-Waite Smith is my favorite tarot card in that deck. And for instance, the Strength card. I just love her, and that doesn't mean that I don't like the Lust card in the Thoth deck, but yeah, you know, it's a very different energy. Anyway, here I see a lot of dreams, a lot of layers, a lot of almost smoke. We are looking at something and we don't really know what it is. And I do like that a lot about this card. And there's Anubis. It's very similar to the Rider-Waite Smith and to the Marseille card as well. But it's much more mysterious, and that absolutely fits this card. The Moon. Illusion, deception, bewilderment, hysteria, madness, dreaminess, falsehood, voluntary change, the brink of an important change. This card is very sensitive to dignity. Whoa! And this is a Thoth Greenie, which is out of print, but you can find them. This one came in this box. The Moroccan Fez. This is an interesting moon card. This deck is like one of the first Marseille, which only had a few colors. If you know what I mean, it's just mostly the primary colors plus some green, and only the Hermit has brown. But the moon card, it took a little while for me to appreciate this one, because it kind of looks like a city. It kind of looks like we are looking at an apartment building late at night with some people still have their lights on. But now I really love that. But that obviously was not the idea. There are yachts, but I really do. I think that's kind of cool. It's a little bit more of a cityscape moon card. Let's switch it up a little bit. Here's the moon card from the Trionfi Della Luna, the paradoxical version. This is my favorite Marseille deck. This deck glows under black light, which I do put up sometimes to get a more special reading, I guess. I kind of like this card, but honestly it's not my favorite. I don't really know what feeling I get from this card. I don't really know how to explain it. We're just looking at a really cute monster creature sleeping in water, and then there's the moon and then the two towers. It's really about knowing what the card means, because on its own I feel it doesn't really say a lot. But apart from that, it's my favorite deck, so. Oh yeah, the polka. This is a pip deck. I like it a lot. La Lune. I don't know, this whole deck is a little bit mysterious and strange and weird and gross and quiet and asocial. And yeah, a little bit dark, but as you can see, there are this effect that happens with the artwork where some cards, they look like they give off a light. I feel that this card does that really beautifully. I just said about the Trionfi della Luna that card doesn't really convey much, but I don't know. There is a mood here. There is a feeling that I feel. This moon's looking a little bit unsatisfied, a little bit disappointed, a little bit waiting, a little bit painful even. But very quiet and just patiently waiting for the consciousness to come. I don't really know how to put that, but yeah. This is Hecate from the Mythic Tarot. I have an original 86 version. I like this deck a lot because it's the Greek myths and then retold in a way that they become the archetypes of the tarot deck. And I think Hecate works really beautifully for the moon card with her dog Cerberus, or pronounced differently. I don't actually know that, but in the Thoth we see this this dog with the hermit. This is still to this day one of my favorite tarot books to learn the Rider-Waite Smith system, to learn the archetypes of the cards, to learn the Greek myths. It's just storytelling, and that's so beautiful and helpful. The three faces of Hecate, like the three faces of the Moirai, reflect the inevitable changing phases of life. The crab down here is a creature which belongs wholly to neither the watery nor the earthy realm, but makes its abode in between. That's beautiful. Thus the crab is an image of the dream world, which arises from the unknown depths, but intrudes upon the day world in the form of powerful images and feelings which cannot be ignored. On an inner level, Hecate, the moon goddess, is an image of the mysterious watery depths of the unconscious. And here, from the Alchemical Tarot, we have the goddess Diana. And I just love that whole Diana, Artemis, however you wish to call her, archetype of this beautiful young woman, huntress in the night, who has a connection to the moon and then a connection to dogs as well. I don't know, I just love that whole energy. Let's see what Robert M. Place wrote about the moon. Diana with her hounds is the white stone. Yeah, so this symbol right here is the symbol of silver, the white stone, and that goes together with the moon, obviously, because gold would be the sun and then silver would be the moon. The crab is labeled with the symbol of Cancer over here, and the other symbol represents the white stone, a card of rest, retreat, anticipation, preparation, dreams. So it's very short what I have here in the little white book, which you can find online of this deck. I just love it. She's barefoot on the grass, and yeah. There's a lot of symbolism in this deck, and I still haven't gotten around to really working with it, because Thoth has been taking up all my time. But that makes sense, right? Because I've actually chosen to read for clients with the Thoth, and so far it's been working great. The Pagan Otherworlds. This moon card is beautiful. I mean, this whole deck is beautiful. If you've seen any of my videos where I mention this deck, it's always the same. It's just a beautiful deck, but it's too minimal for my taste. I just can't seem to get into it, really. That's what the moon card looks like. I mean, I kind of like that natural opening of the rocks, but yeah. The Halloween Tarot. I blackened the borders. I really like this deck. I wish so hard that it was diverse, because I actually plan on using this every October. Apart from that, I like this deck. I think it's very cute, it's funny, it's witty, and I get good messages from it because, I don't know, it's easy to read, and it's a Rider-Waite Smith clone, but then different, and then that difference really does make a difference. I just work with it for myself because I think it's a little bit too cutesy to be doing things for clients. Maybe for a kid, definitely. That would be fun. Or for friends, you know. At a Halloween party, I would like that, though. But anyway, I think the reason why I don't like this card so much is because the moon itself takes up so much space in the frame. It looks like a sun. We kind of forget the fact that it's set at night. Strange things are happening on Halloween night. I guess that's the message of the card. How to deal tarot. I have to work with this tarot deck a little bit more just to get the real true feel of it, because this is another one which has artwork that is very much outside of what I usually like, but I did buy it for a reason last year. I bought it because I wanted a summer deck, and this is, for me, it very much feels like a summer deck, and I actually really like this moon card. It's mysterious, it does look like a dream, it doesn't really make any sense because it's the moon, but then there's also a face in it, there's also a path towards it. I kind of like this perspective. And there is a book. I just really want to give this deck a chance. The moon. Whenever you see the moon come up in tarot, even if it's in the background of the art on other cards, just remember secrets. The moon is always around when you're dreaming. That's when your true self peeks out. I like that. Including the things you won't admit to yourself in the light of day. Okay then. Talking about shadow work. Yeah. Your dreams and daydreams let you reach new levels of creativity, like when your best ideas come to you in the shower. The moon is all about your true self, even the hidden stuff. Accept your moon side before it leaks out when you least expect it. That's actually pretty good. Okay then. Tarot of a Magical Forest. Trimmed. This is a very cute deck, but has that... I immediately see the depth and the darkness in this artwork. Because it is cute, but also a little bit creepy and a little bit dark, as I said. I really love the whole way that, I don't know, the whole feel of this deck, even though, again, I use it just for me, and yeah, I wouldn't use this for clients. Except, again, maybe on a theme party or something, or for children, very much. I do like this perspective. There's a lot of space, because we, of course, are the crayfish, and then it's very up close here and very far away over there. And yet the moon is huge in the sky. So I really do like that. It gives off that super dreamy vibe, but also it's adventurous and a bit scary, a bit daunting. I immediately get that feeling of there's a question that's going to be asked. There's something, there's a test coming, you know? It's all about that yes or no, life or death. So yeah, kind of love it. DruidCraft. I trimmed this one until the stone borders. I love the fact that there are beautiful skies in this deck, beautiful colors. This version has a little bit more of a blue tone to it, as opposed to the newest version, which is very, I think the colors are finally right. They're not too bright, they're not too dark, they're not too blurry. They did a good job with the newest version of this deck, I feel. And then they also took away the copyright, which this deck still has the copyright. But I love this version as well because it's very blue and green, and those are my colors, I guess. I love that there's every element but natural. The towers are these large standing stones, and it really does feel like a sacred place. And I love that very much. Now, I have the large book that came with the new version, because this one I think was a small version. Keywords are psychic awakening, dreams, imagination, deep revelation of feminine mysteries, withdrawal, facing fears. The path through life can sometimes be difficult, but the more we enter into the mystery of existence, the richer the rewards. However far we have traveled, we can still fall victim to the illusion and illusion, and yet this is no reason for us to hold back. It's a pretty good book. The only criticism I had back then was, and still hold it, is that it doesn't explain everything that we see. It doesn't explain the history of some sacred spaces that are actually depicted in this deck. Another Rider-Waite Smith clone, Tarot of a Moon Garden. I really like this deck. Out of all of the kitty decks, and I say that lovingly, that I own, that you've seen, that I've shown you so far, that I've shown you because that's all of them, including this one. This one is my inner child. This one is the tarot deck that I would have picked if I would have started reading tarot, actually reading tarot at the age of 10 in the 90s, because these are such 90s colors, and I was all about the pale blue and the purple and violet, and my whole room was those two colors. There are a lot of details of ferns and mushrooms, and so it is very dreamy, very mysterious already. I don't really know what to say about this card. It's just not my favorite, but it suits the deck. Okay, the Wild Unknown. This is a very minimal card, but I do like it a lot. The fact that the sky is clearly dark, it's clearly night. The two tall trees act as the two towers and are white, and I don't know, it gives that there's really not a lot to work with. It's really about what you know of this card and what this setting, this strange black and white setting gives you in the moment, but there's just something about it that I really like. So let's read from this book, which came with the mass market version. The Moon, Vivid Dreams and Fears. In many ways, the Moon card encompasses the idea of the wild unknown. It is the shadow realm, the place where dreams, fears, and mysteries are born. Much darkness can linger here, and if you aren't careful, this can lead to periods of anxiety and self-doubt, almost as though you've lost your way in a house of mirrors. That's a good one. Many great artists have roamed this inner landscape. It's where imagination and creativity drift freely upon the midnight air. I love that imagination and creativity has been added in. So, yes. Secret Dakini Oracle. This is the equivalent of the Moon card in that deck, and it's quite special, as you can see. Let's read this one again, because I know that I did that in another video. But the image of the mushroom is depicted as a mirage or shadow, almost flickering against the side of a white glacier. Soma, the magic mushroom, provides the doorway to realms of hidden knowledge, extraterrestrial forces, and spiritual enlightenment, but is not these things in themselves. It's only in the interpretation of the Soma with the psyche, the inner water with the inner fire, that resolution of potencies can take place. So I really like that idea. Thus the mushroom is here depicted as being intangible, the glacier behind being like the tip of the iceberg beneath, which are the unfathomable depths of the universal mind. I'm telling you, even though this deck isn't featured a lot in my videos, it's still blowing my mind. But yeah. This is the Wildwood. I wasn't really happy when I first saw this card, because I had fallen in love with the Rider-Waite Smith, and this was my first Pagan deck. Kind of underwhelming, isn't it? The drawing itself is just a little bit like, Let's see. Let's read about the stuff that we haven't read about yet in other decks. We stand at the edge of a watery marsh, representing the primordial emotional state that holds all potential and creative energy within the human psyche, and are drawn to the horizon where moon meets earth beyond the barren trees. Beyond the flight of the sacred heron lies the fusion of our ancestral soul with the soul of the earth. Before us is the primal egg, submerged in the amniotic fluid of the world, waiting for the creative impulse that begins the process of life. The oryx horns represent fertility as well as the horn of the waning and waxing moon. The shape of the horns in the head resemble the womb and fallopian tubes. In Mithraic and Druidic tradition, the bull or ox also had a sacrificial role at midwinter, representing the coming of new life from the death of winter. Yeah, it's not bad. This deck is according to the Wheel of the Year, which is pretty cool. The Elemental Tarot. I have a first edition, really happy with it. Should work with it way more, because when I do, it's great. Here it says Illusion. I already love that whole thing, and with the mask, I mean really. I am the one whose image is great, and I am the one who has no image. Just, it's so simple, but it's so good. Let's see what the book says. The Unconscious Self. I am not able to see the whole of the picture. There are hidden things that cannot or will not be revealed. I am deceiving or being deceived. Tell me that's not great. New Orleans Voodoo Tarot. This is the moon card called the Magic Mirror. I love the artwork of this deck. It's so beautiful. It's definitely about reflection, but there's also a strength, a real strength. There is chaos and some things that we don't understand. I almost feel like there's, I don't know, a force that would drive you to do something which you normally wouldn't, or something. I feel that in this card. Maybe the eyes feel a little bit hypnotic to me. Let's read it. Here there is danger. Here the line dividing the worlds grows thin. Here the crust upon which we walk grows tenuous in the mists. The worlds meet and join hands, right to left, left to right. The waters have risen above the heavens and fallen below the earth. Now they rest in an illusion of solidity. This is the card of magic and sorcery. We see that. And it's beautiful. Yeah. Next. That's my dog passing by. Crow's Magic Tarot. The Strange Tarot deck. Out of print, goes for crazy prices. Don't know why. Lunacy Delusion. I love this vibrant blue. I love that there's hardly anything that you can see on this card except for two crows flying off in the night. This card makes me feel like I've just witnessed something that I shouldn't have seen. And it's exciting. Let's see what the little book says. Okay, so this is just a divinatory meaning. Adjusting thinking, a new approach, inspired by the moon's forces, genius or insanity. Indulging in mind-altering devices, staying down and out. That would be reversed. Last but not least, Tarot of the Crone. This is an indie deck. I have the one with the black borders and the black backs. I love it. I don't use it often because it's a special deck and it's a weird deck. I kind of feel cold when she's like looking into my soul. Yeah, I just got the message. She's looking into my soul and she is seeing the things that I do not like about myself. This is a true gem. Let's see what she has to say. I am the queen of ghosts. I welcome your unborn children. I am the mistress of illusions. I command the shadows. I live in your dreams, the nightmare you sweat and long for. Let me carry you away to another world. Something, something. Her expression is alternately kind and cruel, and no one knows for sure what goes on behind her luminous, pupilless eyes. The moon brings the gift of other ways of seeing, the power of dream that goes further than imagination. She opens the door to other worlds, magical and mysterious, some of which you can get lost in. She rules the ghosts of your own past, the parts of yourself that have died, as well as those that have never been born. The moon lets you hear them. She invites you to know them. She invites you to rule them. They may all demand your attention, but not all should be given it, and you must be kind or cruel as necessary. Though not all that is buried is treasure, under the light of the moon, you may unearth your pearl beyond price. There's a lot to think about with this one. I'm telling you, it's such a good one. Okay, those were all my decks that have a moon card. I really enjoyed doing this. I have a lot of mess to clean up now, but that's fine. I can reorganize my tarot shelves, I guess. I would love to hear what is your favorite moon card, even if it's one that I haven't shown in this video. After all, I don't own that many decks as a professional tarot reader especially, but I would love to know, and maybe your favorite tarot card is also the moon, just like mine. I have one more thing to show you, which is the moon cards, the phases of the moon cards, which you get with the Pagan Otherworlds, which I use on my tarot table. And there's only 5, so that, you know, you can work with it. So I kind of like that, and I use it, and I think it's pretty. Happy full moon, everyone. Happy buck moon, and I'll see you all in the next one.